So with our bird base all set, we're going to do something which is called a sync fold. So we're just going to fold across that line there, so that point goes across to that horizontal fold we've got there. And we're going to flip it over and do the same on the other side. And this might be a little bit complicated. You might have a couple of goes at this, but it's actually not too difficult once you get used to it. So now we need to push that point inside the kite shape. So we're going to open up our fold, and you can see there's a little square in the middle there. So what we want to do is to push down on that point, and we're just going to bend the other way and push just the sides in so that they fold against themselves like so. This is a sync fold. There we go, just squash that flat. And that is our sync fold, if you see why, because it's got a little sink in the middle of it. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use these flaps down the bottom here. What we need to do is just fold these over. So lift that bit up and fold it over. And one of these is going to be the tail, and one of these is going to be the head of our antelope. So we're just going to fold that bit up as well, and across. There we go. Now we're going to do something that is not normal necessarily in origami, but we're going to make a line. We're going to cut with a pair of scissors across here. I'm using scissors to make it quick, but if you want to, you can do this with bare hands. Just crease those folds out backwards and forwards, like we did with the making the squaring off the paper. So we need to make these flaps come out here. And we're going to use the same on the other side. Just make sure that this is nice and in the center. You're just cutting up to the bottom of that center line there. So we've got flaps up in here. Okay. Now these are going to be our legs. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom of this and we're just going to fold it across. So it's out, sticking out like that. And then we're going to fold it back over on itself, just across like so. There we go. Now we're going to open this up because we just need those folds, and we're going to squash it flat back against the body like so. And now we're just going to fold these into the center, each of these edges. Again, we're just creating a line here so that we can make the next fold easier. So just going to go across like so. Make sure that's at a point, and at the other side. And then we just want another little fold just across the bottom here, but we don't want to make it across the whole point. It's just along this little bit here. So we're just going to make a little rough fold in there, just of that section. I'm going to open these out, and the same way again, we're going to fold it inside out and just reverse those creases just along there like that. And then we're just going to push that down and make it flat once we've got that little point in there. It's a little bit fiddly, but you will get used to doing it. That's it, just move those bits in. We're just going to make that sure that that's a nice good point in there. And then we're just going to squash that flat there. Like so. And then we're just going to take this edge and just fold it in. So it's just crossing over on itself and into a point like that. And that is one of our legs. So I'm just going to do it on all 4 of these pieces. I'm just going to do it very quickly for you so that you don't have to wait. So this type of origami, when you use cutting, is called Origami origami. So I apologise if that's not the right pronunciation, but as long as you're not removing anything from the paper, it's kind of considered okay. So there we go. We're just going to finish up that final leg there. So there we go. We've got our starting to look a little bit more like an antelope. So now what we need to do is take these legs and we're just going to fold them down just to create the bottom edge of these legs here. I'm going to do that on all 4 of these pieces. Just these little folds here. We want to keep the feet nice and pointed because this is where it's going to stand on. And if your feet aren't pointed, if it's the fold isn't quite right, you can twist into just twist the paper around and round and round and just into a point. It does kind of make a slightly different looking feet on the bottom there, but it still works. There we go. Just got one more to do. Like that. Right. So now what we're going to do is going to make the tail. So we're going to take the point and bring it down through the back legs here. So just going to fold this down and flat, just along that back line there. And fold it back up. So you've got the tails pointing right down between the legs there. And then we're just going to bring this point up again. So take a double fold back on itself, just so that it's going to stick out just like where the tail is on there. And just squash that flat on there. And see it's starting to take shape now. So that's the tail. Just going to make those creases a little bit more. So now we need to make the head. And we're just going to fold these little bits in just for the front shoulders. It just gives it a nice aesthetic look when it's finished. Just pop those, just fold them in and underneath. You can leave this bit if you like, I prefer to move it in. There we go. So now to make the head and the ears, or the horns I guess you would call them. So we're just going to make a cut along this body bit. So we're going to get our scissors out again, and we're just going to do it along here. Because I'm right-handed, I'm just going to flip this over. And it's not all the way to the top, so you don't want to go all the way through the top head bit, just up to about there. And then we're going to take these little bits and fold it out and down so that the head is pointing down like that. So yeah, you can see the front and the ears, and that is our antelope. And it does stand up as well. And when you finish, it'll look like this. I hope you enjoyed it.